start with your name?
Andrew Epstein.
What can you tell me about Andre Massena?
What I know about the case is the university has always been incredibly concerned with its public image. And when a active and motivated grad student starts pointing out the unholy connections between the university and dispossession of people from their public housing, they get angry. So here we have somebody named Andre Massena who grew up in Binghamton in the housing projects, has worked with the housing projects in Binghamton, was completely outraged at what he was seeing, and when he started doing what he's supposed to do as a social work student by getting the word out, the university took retribution on him, and they're continuing to do it. First they tried to do it through judicial affairs, clearly illegal, they couldn't do it. Now they're trying to get him on his grades, and it's really BS. It exposes the university for what it is.
What exactly what is he accused? What did he do that caused so much trouble?
He put up flyers in the new fancy university downtown center. Mind you, a place that's supposed to be a community center, but is guarded 24/7 by armed guards that requires a student ID to enter, so I'm not sure what community they're talking about. He put up some flyers, my understanding, pointing out what was going on, the expulsions that were going on in public housing, and the university didn't like it. I don't know exactly what the charges were. I know what they're doing now is trying to fail him, and that's just a really sneaky behind-the-scenes way to try to get rid of someone that makes them look bad.
So you're saying that he did something, he performed some political action, some free speech thing, putting up some flyers, and that was
the extent of it.
They went after him in a couple of different ways.
A couple different ways. The first one was the more public one, and clearly was showed to be a complete farce. The second one is harder to judge because it's grades. But yeah, he was completely within his constitutional rights, beyond his constitutional rights, within his moral rights, within doing what was consistent with his consciousness, as it resulted in, because I don't know what the specific laws around housing are, and I imagine they're constructed in a way that are not very people-friendly. But he was pointing something out with his First Amendment rights and got shut down. Yeah.
All right, cool, thanks.
Yeah.
Can we start with your name?
My name is Jessie Kapasula. I'm the president of GSO, which is the Graduate Student Organization of Binghamton University.
Okay.
Yes. And we are aware of the Andre Massena issue. We had an e-board meeting yesterday as a graduate student organization to understand fully what is going on. And our response, we are going to send communication to President Defle about it. We wrote to her before, but that was when the case had just unfolded.
Can you tell me just basic facts as you know them?
As I know the facts, what is happening right now is that after the university withdrew the charges they had against him.
But wait, so we go back before the charges.
Even before
what did he do that?
The charge, for me to remember, if I remember it precisely, what happened is Andre Massena had publicized an eviction that happened in town. Now, the way that he publicized it seemed to have brought him into conflict with his own department. Now, our stand as graduate organization was that you cannot throw someone out because of the way they have covered something. If there have been ethical problems that have come up, there are ways that the university has to handle that. So we called upon the university to handle this issue without telling him that they're going to throw him out of school. So as a Senate, we sat down, looked at it, and we wrote a letter of our stand. They ended up rescinding that idea. We're told that it was due to a technicality. Some step had not been followed, so they withdrew the charge of throwing him out of school. Now, we thought...
So they didn't admit that they had done anything wrong?
No, and we were aware of that, and what we said was, okay, since you're not accepting that there's a problem, we wrote a letter to say we will continue fighting for the rights of graduate students, and as far as we are concerned, when there's a problem, it should be discussed and not be punitive. These punitive steps are regressive, because we are graduate students who are here to do critical thought, where there is a difference in how we are processing, be it in methodology, be it ideological differences. That's why there are organizations to make the administration and the body that represents that graduate student come together. Now, we were aware that they might actually take a step further and try to fail him. We were quite aware of that. This was discussed, and we asked Andre to be on good behavior, because we knew that there might be some... the way this had been withdrawn, there had not been an acceptance that something has gone wrong. Now, we are now surprised to hear that he has been failed 4 courses, he got Fs. Now, this is a student who has got 2 master's degrees, and is an A student all along. So our stand is, you cannot say this person has, I mean, from a scholarly perspective, when a student drops from being an A student to an F automatically, just from a scholarly and critical scholarship perspective, you need to be concerned to find out why is this student suddenly dropped. So we are calling on the university, number one, to read his failure in the context that it has come in. In other words, this failure has come just after the withdrawal of a case, one. Yeah. Secondly, whether they even don't want to go there, the issue is when a student in your class drops from A to F, there is always need to find out why that change has come up. And that's the stand which the graduate student organization has taken. The one of saying there should be no step to throw him out of the program. Maybe if anybody is looking at his GPA and going, oh, it has fallen. Instead, there needs to be an inquiry to find out what has happened, and as far as we are concerned, he needs to be given a chance to bring back his grades to where they were, because this is a student of an A standard. He needs to be given a chance to get back to his work before we can even start talking things like, what should we do to him? We are deeply saddened by the often punitive steps that are taken when there are problems with graduate students.
Now, what kind of redress has Andre been trying to, what channels has he gone through? Has he gone through like the Ombudsman's office?
He has tried to contact the Ombudsman office, and last time I talked to him, he did say he had gone there. I do not know how far that has gone. We work with the Ombudsman office very closely, and we shall be working with the Ombudsman office closely too. Yeah.
Okay. Do you believe, I mean, it sounds like that you're saying that maybe there's evidence of misconduct?
Misconduct on whose part?
That's what it sounds like you're saying on the part of the university.
Well, at this juncture, I need to be careful to say they have not said anything like we are throwing Andre out. But he came to the office to say this has, he has been failed, and where he's going, he's afraid that he might get a letter that says your GPA is too low, so you are being thrown out of campus. So right now, I cannot say the university has done this, but we are taking a preemptive strike because we do not want to wait until this letter comes, then we fight reactively. Yeah, so this is how we are approaching this.
So let me ask you, let me turn the question around then, since I was ambiguous. Do you feel, based on your knowledge of the facts, that Andre did anything to deserve all of this is happening to him?
And I'll comment this as GSO president. As far as we have talked about this, and we respect the fact that we are not privy to the nitty-gritties of issues like, he says he's being charged of things like he was sleeping in class, he was not answering questions, and we have not had the privilege of looking at these things and being in the class as far as we see it. So I would not be able to say he was sleeping in class or he was not sleeping in class. However, judged on the kind of student he was before this case, we believe that he should not be judged on the performance that has happened when he has engaged the university at this time. Because anybody knows that a battle of this nature, when you are involved in what he was involved in before, it affects your research, whatever. So whether he really slipped out or he did not, we can't tell because we're not in class. But our stand is, if he was the kind of student that we are told he was before all of this, then he needs to be given time to get back to where he was.
Very good.
That's how we are looking at the issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to say?
No, just to say that we shall continue fighting for the rights of our students every time something comes up, because this is why we have an organization, for us to work together. Yeah.
Now tell me, what's going on out here? We have Governor Patterson here, the GSO is here, why?
The GSO is here because we'd like Governor Patterson to know that the practice of, the budget cuts that he's talking about, to us we are reading it as a transfer of a burden to us students, and we cannot afford this burden. We feel that we are not the cause of this economic mess that we are in. We appreciate that the mess is there, but we feel that the solution is transferring the burden to us students, and we cannot afford it. The issue of graduating when people owe a lot of money, that's not the way we should go. We already are suffering the way things are. And when you take it to the graduate student organization, the problem is, look, we are teaching 47% of Binghamton University. So when you are doing that kind of work, people need to understand that when the way SUNY works because we are working, and when we are having tuition problems, when we are suffering to go to school, then it affects how long we stay in the system and the quality of work that we bring out. So mainly we are here to tell Governor Patterson that he should not transfer the burden to us. We cannot afford it, and that's how we feel. This is not our fault. He needs to find solutions that do not transfer the burden to students.
Because the point of a public education is supposed to be available to anybody that wants one, basically.
Yeah. And for us, we read it as, it's a largely class war. We feel that the rich are not paying for this. It's us who are ending up paying for this, and it's just not sustainable. That's the way we see it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much. Okay.